either a roof side or the breaker or whatever. Actually, usually I go straight to the breaker. Reason being is, everyone know what an MPU is? Main panel upgrade, it's if your breaker is under 200 amps, okay? It's a $2,000 adder, right? And I like to keep my commissions in check, and so I want to make sure I'm not getting hit with a $2,000 adder randomly, right? So the first thing that I do is I just say, hey, like, I meet the homeowner. I'm like, hey, nice to meet you. You know, first thing I need to do is I need to make sure your home is actually up to code. So I got to go check out your breaker real quick to see if we can even do anything for you guys. Which side of the home is your breaker on? They'll walk me to their breaker. I'm looking for 200 amps. Okay. Now, when I get there, two things are going to happen. One, it's going to be 200 amps, right? And I'm saying, perfect. You guys are already ready to go. You guys are up to code. Your home can actually have solar on it. And when we're good to go, like, you guys are ready to have this. Or two, what a lot of people are not in county, you're going to see a lot of main panel upgrades. I'll say, hey, we actually have to do an upgrade for you guys. Don't worry, it's completely included with our service. We're just going to upgrade your breaker to a 200 amps. Okay. Let's stop it right there. Why do I do that?
To get them to like engage with you, walk around.
Yeah, walking around, get them to engage. What else?
Credibility. You know what you're talking about.
I'm a professional. I know what they need, right? Again, you have to, in this industry, you have to come off 100% as a professional to sell. I mean, you're selling a $50,000 to $100,000 loan, okay? You've got to know what you're talking about.
I sometimes will throw in, it's gonna make your house more efficient because it's not pulling as hard on the current low amp system.
Yep.
I say you're gonna run more efficiently. We're gonna upgrade it so when you go to sell your house, it'll be up to code to the new standard. Versus, I mean, you know, some panels are like this big, those tiny ones with like the 60.
Hey, don't talk to the Connecticut boys about that. They know what 40 amp rating is. But no, what is like the deep-rooted reason when I say, hey, awesome, you're already set to get solar, your home is up to code, or two, it's included in our service, we're just gonna go ahead and upgrade this for you guys while we do your install.
You're already assuming the close.
I'm assuming the close. From the very beginning that I talked to this person, I'm assuming the close, I'm assuming we're going solar. I'm showing them what I'm going to be doing, the value I'm adding to them from the very beginning. Does that make sense? The very beginning, I'm adding value like that. You're raising your hand?
No.
Okay, sorry. Cool. From there, we're gonna transition to actually going to the table, okay? We're gonna break this into sections. Okay, first is gonna be set the table. Okay? Let's get, Ethan, you want to come up here? Okay, so we're gonna be here. So I'm gonna do like we're gonna break down, obviously I'm gonna do like a live role play and break it down here and there. So we just went from the breaker to the table, okay? So we're gonna come sit down. First thing I do, take my iPad and I put it to the side, okay? Does anyone know why I'm doing that?
Like putting the business away.
Yeah, business away. If you go directly to your iPad, what's gonna go through his head?
He has to have like answers for you. He has to start giving you information and stuff.
You're just trying to sell them immediately.
Just trying to sell them. Do we want to come off as salespeople here? No. Look, that is why, no offense to the car people here, that's why everyone hates car salesmen, right? Is because you feel like they're trying to sell you 24/7, right? I'm here to answer their questions, and if we are being genuine when we are knocking doors saying we're just here to see if you qualify, we're not trying to close them, okay? I want to take a pause real quick and say, look, if you want to have a higher close ratio, close more deals, and have less cancels, you have to 100% have the best interest in mind in the homeowner. I have walked away from so many sales, and it's because I knew it was not gonna put them in a better position. Do I believe solar puts people in a better position? Yes, I have solar on my own house, guys. But guess what? It doesn't always make sense for people, okay? When they're older, they don't get the tax credit. If they have terrible sunlight hours and they're gonna have to spend a crap ton more money and they're never gonna see a break-even point, they're moving in 6 months, look, it doesn't make sense, I'm going to walk away. And until you have walked away from homes, you can't 100% like be super confident, like, look, I'm here for the best interest in mind, right? So I just wanna say that right away, like, don't try and sell every single person, don't try and screw anybody, right? You will sell more accounts long-term if you do that, if you actually are able to walk away, okay? You can't be in the industry for 13 years or 5 years or however long people have done this if you cannot walk away and put people only in a better position, okay? So, first thing I do is I'm putting the business aside, okay?
Just question that, if you don't have the proposal ready and you gotta get their usage from them when you get to the appointment, are you still just putting an iPad away in the beginning?
Because what I'll do is, no matter, even if it's a one-touch, whatever, I'm setting in the design request, right? And how I tell it is I'm gonna build the design with the homeowner. I never come prepared with my design. I'll be super frank. I don't know if that's an unpopular thing for people, because the way I pitch it is I'm gonna be building this design with you so we can find what's best for you, right? And I'll explain how, I'll do that in my intent statement, right? But that's why I always just have the design ready, but I never actually go through and set red line or set panels or anything like that. So I'll sit down, I'll put it away. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and build rapport, right? Just talk about whatever with the homeowner, okay? Sports is super easy out here. Everyone's a Dallas Cowboys fan, make fun of the Cowboys for losing to the Niners every year, right? Like, whatever it is, it just build some type of rapport, okay? From here, we're going to the intent statement and why we're here, okay? So I say, okay, so Ethan, I'm super grateful for having me be able to let me sit down with you. My job as a professional is one, to answer all of your questions. I'm sure you have a ton of them, and I'm just gonna try and hammer them out for you just to make sure we can get everything solved for you guys. Number two is I'm trying to see if this is even gonna be a good fit for you guys. If it's not, I'm just gonna walk away and tell you no. I don't wanna put you guys in a worse position. I'm only here to help, right? So I gotta make sure this is even gonna be a good idea for you guys. And three, Ethan, if it does make sense, then I'm gonna see which program we're gonna set you guys up on. There's so many different options, and again, I wanna make sure that we're doing what's best for you. We're gonna go through and build you and me together are gonna go through and build a design for your home, a system that's gonna work for you guys, it's gonna put you in a better financial position. My goal is, throughout this entire process, Ethan, I'm going to try and find a reason why this does not make sense. Any red flags, right? And if I can find one of those, again, I'm walking away, I'm telling you no, I respect your time, probably like I hope you respect mine. But if I cannot find that reason, I can't find a red flag at all, we're gonna go ahead and submit the application today, just to, again, make sure that we can even move forward for you guys, because worst case scenario is you're super excited about going solar and we can't even do it, right? Does that all sound fair to you?
Yep.
Cool. Pause. What did I just do?
Build trust.
Build a ton of trust.
You set up the close to that. If they can't find anything that doesn't make sense, you're gonna submit an application on their behalf, get them qualified. If they qualify, you're signing docs.
Yep.
Essentially, you just did a really good pullback. You said like, I'm not telling you no, and then that's my goal, is to tell you no.
Yeah.
You're not salesy, you're not pushy.
Right?
I mean, honestly, the biggest takeaway, especially for guys that's your first blitz, like setting the table is what you do when also you knock the door, and you're giving them an expectation so it soothes all their anxiety. When you meet someone on the doorstep, their first thing is how much time are they gonna take up? What are they gonna say to me? All their worries that are flying through their head, right, when you meet someone new. He's basically saying, these are the steps that's gonna happen, and at each point there's an off ramp, and you're like, I got you. Like, it's gonna be okay no matter what way we go. And the worst case scenario, I love what he said, like the worst case scenario is we submit this and you get excited and you don't get it. But that, for them, is like, oh, okay. Right? They take a breath because then they see the map. They see what's going on, they see what's happening in front of them, and it makes customers really relax and actually be able to talk to you. Because the majority of the time, customers are doing exactly what he just said. They're looking for the red flag to then jump out mentally. But if you walk through it and you say, hey, we're looking for a red flag together, customers are gonna bring it up and say, okay, like, hey, I don't get that. And then you can explain it. But if not, they're just doing it on their own, and that's what you don't want to have happen. You want them to be completely able to see what's happening. You've already set the table, right? And then customers are gonna be able to actually like work through a process with you. So really, really good.
Yeah. So do we have a Zoom link going, by the way, that's in the WhatsApp chat? see him, that's what I was asking.
He's basically now.
Oh, can someone get a Zoom link going for what's that chat? Okay, one quick thing, and we'll get right back into it, is just to build off that. So here's the thing. This is a couple things that added that it does, right? Again, for this, I'm gonna link it to the setting as well for you guys that are new. Their whole goal, the minute you knock on the door, is to get you off the doorstep, okay? Your whole goal is to either get home or to get them off the doorstep, right? Because first person got the doorstep loses, okay? They're trying to find a reason to get you to be able to go away. He is gonna be finding a reason why he can tell me no the whole time, okay? And that's because I'm trying to sell him. Now, if we flip that, right? Because that's not my mindset. My mindset is not to try and sell anybody, right? I know I was talking to you, Ben, about this yesterday. I've talked to a lot of people, and they're like, "Well, how do you close like this? Like, how do you close this type?" And I'm like, I feel like I don't really have to close people, and it's because throughout the entire process, I am on their team, right? I'm on their team the whole way, and I'll tell them no, or if everything makes sense, then they're going to be telling me yes, right? Like, we're just going to go ahead and get it done. Because we're on the same team, we're building this together. That's the other reason I don't come prepared with a red line set and all this stuff. That's why I don't calculate my commission. I don't really care, right? Reason being is we're gonna build this together, whatever gonna be best for him.
Something that I've noticed about Derek's close is, so I've been home with you only a couple times, but like this guy actually believes that. Like, it's not just something you say of like, we're on the same team, if this makes sense for you, looking to see the red flags. You have to actually believe that for them to feel it, and then there's no pressure on it. You're not selling them. You're just buddies that are seeing if this works.
Yeah.
And you got to actually believe it, and it takes time, but you start with the action, and then you get the mindset.
Exactly, because if you're just saying it, they're not gonna believe you, right? You have to like have 100% conviction in everything that you say, right? The more conviction you have, the more success you're gonna have, right? And then one last thing, again, with adding that, later on down the road, when he says I need to think about it, he just told me if we cannot find a red flag, and he will ask me every question that he has, and I will answer them, right? So he can't have any more questions. There's no more research to be done because I already answered them all. We couldn't find a red flag. He told me he's going to make a decision. So come that time, I'm able to call him out. Right? Now you do it in a nice way, and we'll get to that point, right? And I'll show you what I do, but you can actually call someone out. That's why you do the intent statement. Now, one thing I want you guys to keep in mind too, is if he says, oh, like I'm definitely not making a decision today right off the bat. Okay? What's 90% of sales reps' first idea when someone says that? I'm gonna do a Hail Mary, I'm gonna try this out, we're gonna try and push through it. I do not do that. Okay, I've done it every now and then, and I hate it every single time I do it. Here's why. If he told me right now he is not making a decision today, typically he's not making a decision today. Okay, I don't care how good you are. So in my opinion, I would much rather take my hour and a half I would have spent with him, knocking my own doors and setting my own appointments. Okay, setting new appointments, new leads that will make a decision, right? Because the worst that can happen, we go through this whole thing, he says I gotta think about it, because he told me he would. I can't come back and like try and get him to sign anymore, because he already told me he was gonna say, I'm gonna think about it, and then he did say it, right? He said, he did the intent statement on me if he does that, okay? Guess what? I'm walking away, and I'll probably never hear from him again. So why did I waste my hour and a half? Stop throwing Hail Marys. I don't throw Hail Marys, I hate them.
What do you say when you walk away?
I just say, I finished my intent statement. Does that sound fair to you?
Yeah, I'm just not gonna sign anything. I'm not gonna make a decision today.
No, 100%. Like I said, what we're gonna do today is answer all of your questions and see if there's gonna be any red flags, right? So just full transparency, Ethan, decisions do not take time, they take answers, okay? You can do all the research in the world, and does not matter how much time you have, as long as you get that research done and your questions answered and you feel good, you can make a decision. Now, I have so many other people that I am actually helping out every single day and every single hour on this street and in this neighborhood, because it's kind of, people need this, right? So it's a really good fit. If you're not able to make a decision today, I don't want to come off as like high pressure, because that's just not who I am, but I can go sit with somebody else in the same hour that we would have spent together and help them out while you do more research so I can come back another time when you can actually make a decision. So are you gonna actually, if we can get everything solved today, right? Meaning like I can answer all your questions, get everything done. Do you feel like you have enough research where you can make a decision today? Yes or no, I don't care, yes or no. Or would you rather me come back tomorrow or the next day while you'll help out one of your neighbors?
Where do I sign?
Do you see that?
Yeah.
Right? I always say this, like new reps get so upset about canceled appointments or not like rescheduled appointments. I reschedule my own when I'm in home. I love them. So when I text in the group chat, I freaking love reschedules. I'm not lying because he's gonna sign the next time we sit because I just told him you're signing next time we sit, right? Sometimes, now 80% of the time what's gonna happen is he'll say, yeah, come back another time, let me do some research. Reset the appointment right then and there. You need to have a date and time, okay? Or it's never gonna go through. 20% of the time, they'll be like, hey, no, you're right. Like, as long as you can answer all my questions, like, I can make a decision, okay? It works.
Also, something nice that I've seen as well is ask them what research do they need to know. Like, what are the questions you're looking for you to make a decision? That way you know, hey, this is stuff I can actually answer right away, or through my presentation, or I need to come back a different time, right? Because if it's like, oh, I need to talk to my mom who has solar, right, before I make a decision, then it's like, okay, well, let me come back after you talk to your mom, right? Or let's call her up right now. Yeah. So get those questions out right away. Ask them.
Okay, let's go to number 2. So, number 2 is we're getting all those questions out, okay? We need to get everything solved right now. I gotta get all the questions out of them. How many times have you guys gone through an entire sit and you're like, man, that person would not talk to me. Like they would not ask me questions, they couldn't get anything done. Okay? Number 1 is usually because you didn't do an intent statement, right? And if you did do one, it's because you're not pulling it out of them. You have to pull questions out of the homeowner. Because if you leave one question unanswered, they will either 1, not sign, or 2, cancel within 48 hours. Okay? Hey, sales are cool. Installs are cooler, guys. Right? Don't sign up anybody that you think is going to cancel. It's not worth it. It's not worth for your setter getting hyped and then not getting paid. It's not worth it for you getting hyped and not getting paid. Okay? I would much rather walk away from the home without a deal signed than walk away from the home and get it canceled, right? So like that's what this whole thing is going to be about, is how we can prevent that. So I'm gonna use this as my pen and paper. Okay, normally I have a notepad out and I'm writing notes, but I want you guys to be able to see what I actually write, so we're gonna do it on here. Okay? Okay, Ethan, so first things first, like what are your biggest questions and concerns that you do have about solar?
Oh, I don't have any questions.
So, I mean, I'm sure you've done some research in the past, right? Everyone has at least a couple different questions, and we have our main ones that we go over, but really, like, if you were to be able to make a decision, like, what's been holding you back, and you haven't done it for reasons, there's obviously some questions there.
What happens if we move?
Yeah. Perfect. Okay, what else?
What if it's cloudy?
Okay, what else?
And is it free?
Dude, I thought you were gonna be one of those homeowners that actually has like non-basic questions. I get these all the time. Come on, hit me some hard ones. I actually say that, by the way.
What's the efficiency level of the panels? And the degradation every single year of the panels?
Sweet.
What
What else?
Are they mono or poly panels?
Awesome. Anything else?
That's all I can think of.
Okay, Ethan, these are, I mean, I always go through all this anyways with homeowners. I just wanted to make sure we can get all of your questions answered again, because I want to try and find those red flags for you. So I'm just going to kind of explain how everything works. Pause. Do not answer the questions, okay? Right away. How come? Anyone have any ideas?
I mean, I've never seen this particular proposition from you, but I would imagine, for me at least, if I answer a list of questions, as soon as it's done, they feel like they have to make the decision right then when they still don't have all the emails.
Yep. They feel the pressure of making a decision. They're gonna just start coming up with excuses, right? Because you haven't explained anything yet. Or two, they're taking 100%, they're taking control from you because they're leading the conversation now because you're having to just go along with whatever they're doing.
Yeah, kind of like whenever I asked that, after I asked that question, and say, perfect, this actually goes perfect with the flow of how solar works, and we'll answer this as we go throughout the whole presentation.
Yeah.
Your whole proposal.
Exactly. So you have, even if this isn't what you normally do, right? I never go into mono or poly, right? I'm sure half the people in this room don't even know what that means, right? I'm sure people who've been selling don't even know what that means sometimes. If you don't, like, even if it's not in the flow of what you regularly do, it is what you do now, okay? Meaning, yeah, so I answer all of these anyways, and this is part of what we kind of do just to make sure you understand the basics, so I'll go ahead and answer those for you while I do everything else. It makes them feel a lot more comfortable because I'm used to answering all of that. Again, I am the professional. Now, if it's not in the flow of things, figure out how to put it in there because you gotta answer the question. You gotta answer those questions before you can close somebody, okay? So next thing, so my next part is I go into like net metering and how it all works, okay? Because how many of us have sold an account before we actually really knew how solar worked, and next thing you know, we're getting cancels because they're like, wait, my power's gonna go out if I have solar, or I never actually use my own panels, like why would I even have them? I have, I mean, I think a lot of us have, right? So it's really good to understand it. Again, be the professional, okay? Okay, Ethan, so I'm just gonna kind of explain exactly how it works for you, okay? So right now, this is your house, okay? You got your meter here, okay? You got these power lines over here, and that's how you're getting the power right there. Just going straight to your house, okay? The reason your power rates continue to go up every single year is we have to create the power at this transmission plant, right? And then we have to send it all the way over, deliver it to your home, okay? Now, obviously, inflation's killer right now. I mean, just in Texas alone, power rates over the last 18 months have been about 145% rate increase, right? So you've probably already noticed that. It's causing this part to get really, really expensive, okay? Now, in your bill, I'm sure you've noticed that TDU delivery charge. Mm-hmm. You've seen that? Mm-hmm. Do you know what that is? No. Okay, so it's two things. Number one is delivery charge. We're having to send the power to your home, okay? You're not producing your own power, so you're having to pay this massive delivery charge. And the other thing is, Ethan, remember that storm a couple years ago? Mm-hmm. Blew everything out? Yeah, you as a homeowner paying for power because you're renting dirty energy from the grid, you're having to actually repair that with your, like they're taxing you, in essence, on your power bill. Mm-hmm. Do you see that? Mm-hmm. Okay, now one thing, I get this all the time from homeowners, like, well, I have a great rate, I'm locked in at 8 cents. You have a great rate, you are locked in like 8 or 9 cents. I'd have to look at your bill again real quick, but it's one of those two. Mm-hmm. But look on the back side of the bit, on the bill. It actually says you're coming in at 15. Do you know why?
All these charges.
All of these charges. Mm-hmm. So what you can do is you can shop around. You did a great job. You shopped around and got 8 cents. That's really low, dude. That's freaking awesome. Like seriously, dude, right here. Like you're probably gonna have me. But look, with that, you can lock in a rate. You cannot lock in your delivery charge. The lower the rate, the higher the delivery charge. The higher the rate, the lower the delivery charge. No matter what, you're coming at the same price. Every single person pays it. Just how it is. Okay, so our goal, Ethan, is we're gonna put the panels up here, right? We're at the sun, okay? We're now producing power on site, okay? So the power's gonna go here, into the meter, straight right back into the grid. Okay, it's called net metering. Have you heard that before? No. Okay, what it is this. So they're gonna buy back at a 1-to-1 rate. Okay, meaning if you buy it at 8 cents, you're gonna sell your power at 8 cents, right? Because you're buying and selling, because you're still buying as you normally would have, but now you're selling power. Okay, 15 cents, whatever you want to call it. I'll explain kind of the cool things that we do for homeowners if we can get enough panels, because you can actually start making money on this, and I'll get to that point, right? Look, 1-to-1. Okay, so let's say you consumed 1,000 kilowatt hours, but you produced 1,000. The net, so net metering is the net between the meter pulling and the meter pushing, okay? Net is 0. This means all you're worried about is a solar panel payment, okay? On this one, let's say you consumed 1,000 and you produced 500. You are net negative 500. In this situation, Ethan, it would mean you would pay a solar panel payment plus a power bill because we did not produce enough power. Does that make sense? Okay, now obviously now the next point of it is, use 1,000, we produced 1,500, you now have a net positive 500. This is awesome, this is what we're looking for. You're gonna get credited for this, and it's gonna roll over to the next month, so in case this happens, you're fine. Just nets it out. Does all of this make sense so far? Do you have any questions?
No.
Okay, pause. How many people go this into detail when they're in home? The people who are closing most of their deals raise their hand, right? Look, if you don't want cancels, you gotta get super specific, right? And I know that took what, 15 minutes, 10 minutes? Like it takes so much time to get super nitty gritty, but people need to understand, they're not using their own power. Their power will go out, right? Like they need to know those things.
And if you're selling in a co-op, specifically like Tri-County or Coaster, make sure to go into this.
Oh, especially
because
those.
people will, if they call Tri-County, like, no, we don't do a buyback, then you need to be on top of that before they hear that.
Yep.
So just be on top of this in detail.
I dumb it down for them and I say, picture this as it's a business on your roof. From dawn till dusk, your open signs on. At night, you're always sending more than you're pulling, and then the next day, it just went after the next. And it just break it down to the simple form.
Yeah, they just gotta understand it, right? However you can get them to understand it, you gotta get into detail with people, okay? And then from here again, like I don't know if you caught when I was like, yeah, our goal is to get you to overproduce because I'm gonna explain how we can kind of work the system and get you paid. If you're knocking all core, you can say that. Any other co-op, you cannot say that, obviously, right? So know your power company too that you're knocking. Okay, so any questions on this? Does everyone understand how this works?
I had a quick question. So when you're saying you're going into that much detail, are you explaining the delivery fee, like 4 cents with that? Okay.
I will only go into that detail if I know I can't overproduce enough for them.
Okay.
Right? So same thing is, like, if someone has a power company like Shell Energy that doesn't actually have a buyback program, I'm not gonna say, hey, we're gonna switch you to a buyback program, because in their heads, the more that we have to change, the more of a reason they have not to do it. Now, obviously, we're going to switch them over, right? But I'm just gonna say, hey, look, we work with your power company, no matter what, right? The less of those things that I have to go over about them switching things that I know it's gonna work out anyways, the better. Okay, let's get right back into it. Okay, so this is net metering. This is going over all their questions, right? Now the next point is I gotta go into warranties and answering the questions if I haven't, right? Okay, so anyone know the difference between mono or poly? Who wants to take a stab at it?
It's like the blue gridded ones and then the black ones.
Which one's which?
I want to say mono is the black
Blue.
stick ones. Oh, which one is
Poly
it?
is black.
Cody?
Ah,
Makes control.
Yeah, so just so you know, mono means one, polys, right? So blue, gray, whatever you want to call it, right? Okay, so here we go. From here, again, so we're gonna get into warranties and answer the questions. So, Ethan. Okay, so obviously with an investment like solar, I mean, because it is an investment, right? You got to make sure that you're gonna be covered with everything. So and the reason I'm bringing this up is I just want to talk about this real quick, right? If you were gonna have to pay a second bill, you're probably like, why would I go solar? Right? A lot of people think that. Okay, so there's two ideas. One is, again, we're gonna build this design together. If for some reason, right, like your roof just can't hold enough panels, whatever, and we just can't get to 100% offset, I want you to picture this. Gas is $5 a gallon. You can get 60% of your gas tank at $1 a gallon. That is fixed forever. You never have to worry about it going up. And the rest at the regular rate. Would you do that?
No.
Why?
Because I'm saving on that part of the tank that I'm filling up at the cheaper price.
But what if gas got lower than $1?
It's probably not
You don't think so?
No.
How come?
inflation.
Yeah, it's never gonna happen, right? Pause. Why do I do that?
Cause they bring that up sometimes. But
What if power goes down? So in the last 50 years, just so you guys know, this is a fact. In the last 50 years, how many times has power gone down?
Never.
0. There's been a couple years it's gone constant, right? But in the last 50 years, on average in America, power has never gone down. Okay? Now there's some states who will try and be like, oh, we've done that because we've given you a credit for your power. It's like, no, you rose the rates 30% and then gave us a 5% credit. You still rose us 25%. Right? That's what California is doing right now. They just had a 40% increase, and they're saying, hey, but we're going to credit you $50 this year. My 40% increase is more than $50 a month, right? Like, that's what power companies do. So they don't ever actually go down, okay?
I'll make jokes with the homeowner and I'll be like, hey, on the highway, have you ever seen Reliant, or I think the TXU did it, where they'll try to trick you into signing up with them. They'll charge you 22 cents a kilowatt, but they'll give you a year subscription to Dish or to some cable show. I'm like, okay, so you're gonna pay $500 to $700 power bills so you can get this $60 feature. Like, I just kind of joke around about the company.
It's amazing marketing, right? I mean, you get free weekends, but you pay 32 cents a kilowatt hour on the weekends, right? And they all do that. So just so you know that, for people knocking on for, somebody's gonna say, I got a great deal, I get nights for free. Okay, just be super stoked, because they're paying probably 22 cents plus during the non-night times, right? So just so you guys can understand that. So I'm gonna get into this so I can go over the warranties, right? Because everyone here should be pushing TriSmart, right? Best warranties, best pricing, everything. So push TriSmart so you can actually guarantee this, right? So Ethan, so the biggest concern that people have had in solar over the last 15 years is, well, why would I invest in something if I can't guarantee that it's gonna produce what you guys promise, right? Because I'm gonna come in here, we're gonna build a design together, we're gonna build a system that's gonna produce more power. We're gonna hopefully be in this section, right, where you're overproducing every month. But the biggest concern homeowners have had, and I'm sure you've had this yourself, which is why you haven't done it yet, is what if you guys don't actually produce what you say? Okay? That is why I love what we do. We have taken all of the risk out of you as a homeowner to go solar, right? What I mean by this is we have a 25-year production guarantee. Okay? What this means, Ethan, is let's say you have 10,000 kilowatt hours that you use every single year. And I promise, so I'm gonna build a system that promises minimum to produce 10,000 a year. Let's say you use 10,000 and I only produced 8. I underproduced by 2,000. So in that case, Ethan, you're gonna have a solar panel payment and you're gonna pay for an extra 2,000 kilowatt hours of power bill, right? This is what this production guarantee means, is if this happens, we are going to reimburse you for all of that missed usage because we promised to do it. It is in your contract, we contract to you. That is why that install agreement is so important to us. It's not like, I'm not gonna try and hide anything on there. I actually walk you through it. It's because we are protecting you in your investment. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Pause.
What happens if you don't produce that all 25 years?
We promise, like in the install agreement, it is labeled out year by year, the production. Yeah, so they can see it's labeled out how much they're gonna get paid for it, their production, it's incredible. So
Actually nuts.
it's super nuts, no one does that. People can claim that they don't.
Yeah, but I didn't know that. The production needs to stay the same the whole 25 years or?
No, it goes down a little bit, there's degradation, it's 1.9.
It's 0.5.
It's a 0.5%.
every single year.
Okay, 0.5% every year. Hey, yo, bring it down.
I thought the production guarantee was only 80% of the systems.
80. Well, by year 25, it's producing 85%.
And I thought from the beginning it was always 80%.
It'll be a little bit lower right off the bat, yeah.
Not 80%.
Yeah, but it'll be, so it's showing, yeah, I think it's 80 or 85% every single year. So what you're gonna see on solar or on Enerflow is gonna be the actual like estimated production. On the contract, it'll show like 80 or 85% of that as like, because they can actually guarantee that. Because what that estimated means is, guys, it means if they clean their panels once a year, right, or depends on like where they live. If you're not out in the county, they should probably clean it more often. It will hit that number. But if they don't, they're not gonna guarantee something that people aren't maintaining the panels. Does that make sense? That's why. Okay, but the reason I go over this is, look, this is the biggest concern people have had, and we have solved it. Do you see that? Because that's what most homeowners, this is their concern, because they don't want to pay 2 bills, right? So I go over this for them like super in detail, okay? And then obviously the last one, right? Which is, now on top of that, we also do a 25-year roof and penetration warranty.
Did you go over the workmanship warranty or no?
So what this means, Ethan, is if we damage your roof or attic on install, we're gonna fix it all for you for free, okay? Because that's us that we messed up. On top of that penetration, what we do is we do a site survey. We're gonna take a bunch of photos of your rooftop and everything. That's part of the qualification. Like, I don't care if you wanna go solar, if we fail the roof inspection, we can't do it. And the reason being is we have to warranty your roof. Any leakage, structural damage, penetration at all for 25 years from us, right? If anything goes wrong, we're covering that for you guys. Again, if you go read the contract, it literally states, if we mess up the roof on install, if we mess up the attic on install, it labels all of these different things, okay? So I wanna say that, and I also wanna add, if for some reason something does happen on your install and gets messed up, look, we've had 2, maybe 3 times since using TriSmart where they have messed something up, like a hole in the roof or, you know, broke something. It will always get fixed because it is in the contract, just so you guys know, okay? Does this answer everything so far? We're good?
I just had a question. How do you explain to the homeowners the difference between why Enerflow showing their estimated production being higher versus the guaranteed amount, like in a smooth way? Because like, I get the logic, right? They can only guarantee to a certain amount because they can't always promise this. What's a smooth way to resolve that?
You had to cancel.
Because I had to cancel because of that.
Exactly how I just did it right here, right?
Okay.
So ask that, Ethan.
What? Just like,
I guess.
So like,
I don't know how the customer would ask that. Just
so I looked at my Enerflow, and the numbers that you showed me were completely different than what I would. But that was because I did go over it in the close. Were different than what you showed me. The guaranteed amount was a lot lower. So those numbers mean I would still be paying a second bill. Is what was in her mind.
Yeah. So here's why, Mr. Homeowner. Candidly speaking, that number that I'm showing you, you should be hitting that, and that's obviously going to be a couple different factors. Right, so out here in the county, so if you guys are not in county, this is usually a bigger issue, right? If there is hard rain and a dust storm right after, you need to clean your panels because the efficiency of the production is gonna go way down, okay? What this production guarantee is if you're doing little to no maintenance on the panels, that's why we're gonna be able to guarantee that, right? For people who are actually going out and cleaning their panels, which I recommend to do once or twice a year, we should be closer to this mark. Never guarantee anything, right? We should be closer to this mark right here, right? But again, not everyone wants to do that. Not everyone wants to take the time to do it, and so we can't guarantee it.
I feel like you can compare it to fuel efficiency too. Like,
if you drive super hard, you're not going to get the fuel efficiency.
Yeah, and if you maintain your air filters and tire pressure and stuff like that, then yeah, it'll do it.
Yeah.
But you gotta make sure you're on top of that.
Yeah, I would do that. That's cash.
Also, I always point out on this that, like, I always kind of like draw like a line of like, here's how much you'll produce, and then a dotted line below it, because what the production guarantee is designed to flag is a problem with the system, not weather patterns. That like, it's not going to flag it as needing to be like replaced or compensated for if it rains, right? It's designed to flag an actual problem.
Yeah.
That's what I explained to them, is like, that's why it's lower, because we're not going to just replace it if it's raining.
Yeah, I think that's what I do, how I explain it.
That's the best.
Yeah, I just basically say our software is super cool. It goes through and it simulates the weather, so we know over, X amount of years, or whatever you want to say, 50 years.
Yeah, in case you guys didn't know that, that's what it does. It's just like the last X amount of years, weather everything in the area.
Yeah, everything
it's
in the area,
Aurora.
sun patterns through the sky, however you want to explain it. And it gives us a number of what you will more than likely produce. And that's the number I showed you on Enerflow. Now, in the case of basically like a year where it's just like, I don't know, a volcano erupts, or like say something silly, like there's just terrible weather. There's 15 feet of snow in Texas, like something really, really weird. There's basically a padding in there for where it could be in like the absolute worst apocalyptic case scenario. And that's that bottom line that you see on the contract. But basically we know that if it's below that bottom line, then there's probably something going on with the system, because even in the worst possible situation, that's what they're guaranteeing. And most of the time people are like, oh, okay, so that's like the worst situation. You're like, yeah.
Yeah, super easy. Okay, let's
Yeah, even if you're putting your customers on like the 110, 115% offset, then what the production guarantee is giving us actually what they're using. It's like,
Yeah, so that's the other reason to
worst case
sell that high.
scenario, we're hitting exactly what you're using, and you're not gonna be banking it.
Yeah, that's the other reason to sell your customers the higher offset, is because when they look at that, it's still what they're using. Right? I think you should, no one should ever sell a 101%. Okay. Next thing is rent versus own. So again, I don't ever erase it, right? I just usually have more space on my notepad. Okay. So Ethan, I'm waiting for the design to come back. I always blame why White's taking so long, because the design hasn't come back yet, just so everyone knows, right? We're still waiting on the design to come back so we can kind of design it together. I just want to go over realistically, like if it's going to be a benefit for you guys, right? So let me ask you this. So let's say like a mortgage, you know, is $2,000 a month. Okay. Now let's say rent is $2,000 a month. Which one are you gonna pick?
Mortgage,
Why?
because I can own it.
Okay. And what else comes with that?
Equity.
Yeah, I can get my money back.
You know, if we sell for more,
Yep.
right? Cool. Let's go even deeper. What if what if rent was $1,500 a month and mortgage is $2,000?
Yeah, I'd still do the 2,000.
Really?
Yeah.
You could save $6,000 a year to rent though. Why would you do that?
It's building equity, and I would always be paying that, and that has a payoff date.
Pause. Yeah, I'm like trying to pin him against owning. Why? Why am I doing that?
Same concept.
Why am I trying to pin him against it?
You're arguing for yourself at that moment.
Essentially, it's a really good pullback. You're saying, like, here's why owning your own house doesn't make sense. Why do you own a house?
Yeah. He's gotta sell me on it now. He's gotta sell me on paying $6,000 more a year to own a house. Now let me ask, raise your hand, I want everyone to participate. Who here thinks it's better to own than to rent?
No.
Okay, so yeah, let's just raise your hand.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, right? Unless there's some off circumstance, whatever, interest rates are 10%, whatever, right? And you're paying $3,000 more, I don't know. There's a lot that can go into it, but on normal case scenario, it makes more sense to own. I'm glad everyone rose their hand, because now you can actually sell Zord, because you believe in ownership, right? Okay, so here's the thing. Over 30 years, Ethan, now I usually have a graph that does the math for me, okay, so I'm gonna like come up with some numbers off the top of my head, so they're not gonna be 100% accurate, okay, so just fair warning. Over the course of the year, here's the difference. This is locked in, your mortgage. Now, obviously, property taxes are gonna go up, right? Like that's a thing. You can't lock in property taxes, but your interest rate, your principal, all of that is locked in. This average interest or average like inflation is 6%. Okay, so on average, this will go up 6% every single year. Okay, some years it might be 1%, some years it might be 10%. It's always going to average out to 6%. You're talking about the last 24 months, it's been 12%, right? It's crazy what's happening. So the difference is at the very end of this, over 30 years, you would have spent, right, what is that, like $500,000. Let's call that, okay? You spent $500,000 for your house. So you're telling me it's smarter to go $500,000 in debt than to just rent? You're pulling out a $500,000 loan.
Yeah.
Pause. Why am I doing that? You can't pull out the, well, I don't want to take out a loan thing. This loan seems expensive. Maybe do on that. Yeah. You're taking out $500,000. I agree with you, it's super smart, because let's look on the flip side. Even if this was $1,500 a month, with this, over that same 30-year span, you would have spent probably, I think it's like $750,000, something like that. It's some crazy number, right? So even you going into debt, there is good debt, right? There's bad debt and good debt. This is really good debt because it's actually building you an investment in an asset, right? This right here, it's not debt. There's no loan. There's nothing against your credit, right? But you just wasted 750 grand. What you did, Ethan, if you rented, which is why you're smart for not doing it, you paid off some millionaire's home, and you just gave them 500 grand. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. It's a crazy concept that people actually think renting can be better than owning. So I'm so happy I'm with you because you actually know your stuff, right? Okay, let's look at this. Again, I don't know your numbers for your system, Ethan, just because your design hasn't come back yet. But we're just gonna go off like a rough average, right? So you said your power bill is about what right now?
Like 250.
250 a month. Okay. Is you're paying 250 a month for your power bill. Okay, so this is power. Let's go solar. Let's say your solar comes in at $300. I have no idea, right? Right off the bat, you're probably thinking what?
Well, I don't want to pay more for solar than for my power.
Probably not, right? You want to save money, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Look at this. This right here, Ethan, is an investment. It's a fixed rate. Now, you want to know the cool thing about Texas and solar? Tax exempt. Your property taxes do not go up with solar, so this is actually a fixed rate. Okay? So next year it's gonna be 300, right? The year after it's gonna be 300. It will not go up. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Over here, your power. How long ago did you move in?
Been here about 7 years.
Were you paying $250 a month 7 years ago?
No.
Absolutely not. Has anyone moved in or out?
Yeah, we've had kids move out.
Oh, so less people in the home and your price is going up. It's crazy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So look at this. Over that same 30-year span, okay, you would have spent, what is that? Is that
About
25,000? It's gonna be, I think it's like 100 and like something thousand. All right, let's go 115,000. You would have spent $115,000 on solar in that same 30-year span. Over here, you would have spent about $230,000. Now, I want you to shoot me straight. Like I want an honest answer from you. I'm your power company. The day you close on your house, I'm walking up to you, Ethan, and I say, hey, over 30 years, you can either pay me this or pay me this. Which one are you picking?
Cheaper.
How come?
It's less money.
Over $100,000 less. But what if I told you, Ethan, in the beginning, you will pay me more? Which one are you picking out?
I'd still do the cheaper one. Long term.
Long term, that's what matters. Because you're not going to move in the next 2 years, are you?
No.
That's what I thought. Right? Pause. What did I do there?
Answer his question about moving. Because now he's not moving the next 2 years.
Now he's not moving the next 2 years, so you can't pull that BS on me, right?
I usually get that in Discovery too. If
In Discovery as well,
they're
yeah.
moving, so I know it beforehand.
You didn't back yourself into a corner pay wise.
Yeah.
You can take a look at a fat PPW on this if you wanted to.
Yeah. everyone knows Derek Dawes. The reason he doesn't walk out unless it's the 5-0 is because he makes everyone pay $50 more a month.
You also got him to agree to kind of commit in a way too.
Yeah.
Like, this is what you're gonna pay, but you're not gonna move, right? And then he says no, so that automatically, in his mind, says that yes, I am going to be.
Yeah, he's giving me soft yeses right now, right? The other thing, look, I mean, you're gonna pay cheaper. You told me you're gonna pay this. I got you. You told me you're gonna pay this. You told me you'd rather pay this. And you also said, because this is cheaper in the long run, you would rather pay me more. Do you see that? He's gonna lie to me if he doesn't go through with it. He doesn't want to be a liar. He doesn't want to be confrontational. Humans do not like confrontation. Psychology, we do not like it. Most people, like 97% of people. There's like 3 to 5% of people who don't care. Most people do care and they don't want confrontation. It's uncomfortable. So they're gonna go ahead and go along with it. Yours again?
Oh yeah, I was just saying I love that what you did because I think you sometimes run into people at the end that are like, well, the thing is like this. I know this is better, but I just can't afford to pay more right now. And so you've already confirmed that with him that he's okay with. You literally asked him, what if I told you you had to pay me more before? And he's like, oh, not a problem. So clearly he has it in his budget. Like you can set your. whatever you wanna sell it at accordingly, like, you know he's not gonna give you that answer about, I can't be paying more,
Exactly.
or I can't even be paying the same, like, whatever.
So I always like to, they say that people buy emotion, they justify on logic, so there's a lot of logic going on here. Like, are you always going into that much depth on, okay, how about, do you actually have a graph that's like, here's $300, 6% interest, 25 years, cause I don't have
It's
that.
that Excel sheet.
Can we send that back out? I keep losing money. Personally.
Yeah, we have it.
That is like the best tool.
Yeah, if you send that out, that'd be helpful, because I always like ballpark these numbers, but then there's not as much logic there, because I'm just like.
Alright, yo. Bring it back. While he's plugging this in. Hey, bring it back.
Grab the
We just have the sheet, I don't even look at it.
Guys, listen up.
Look at the integration.
Okay. Yes, this is why. Okay. In most industries, you sell on what?
Right.
Sell on what? Emotion. You back it up with what? Do you want to have less cancels? In this, you sell on logic, back it up with emotion. I know that's kind of opposite, but that's what I do. This is all logical. There is zero emotion that I have done so far. Correct, wrong or yes? Yeah, right or wrong? I haven't heard it. Correct. What is there any emotion at all? No. This is 100% logical the entire way. Okay? Don't worry, the emotion's coming, but I gotta build the logic first. I gotta sell myself as how smart I am with what I'm doing, so they're gonna make a good decision to go with me.
This is weird. It's kind of one-off scenarios, but it has happened to me more often than not. When you try to get them to agree with you in the beginning about their price going up in the last 7 years, you just get some people who are liars. They're just stubborn. They can feel themselves getting funneled, so they're like, no, not really. It stayed about the same. How do you like to address that?
Yeah, pull up your account real quick. Like your power bill.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back and look.
They're always lying when
They're always lying.
They always do, but it's like I hate to call them out on their bluff.
You have to.
I know.
They're trying to call you out. So in a nice way, right? Like I'm not rude about it, but I'm like, hey, that's freaking amazing. Like everyone else has seen it, especially in a co-op. I'm like, yo, like you're right. Right? It's a co-op, right? Pull it up real quick. Let's go look at your bills. That's what I do.
Another thing I think you can do to like not get into that is something that Cody does a lot when he closes. And what he does is he actually messes with the rate of inflation, like with the customer. So what he'll do is he'll have it at 4%, and then he'll be like, okay, so it's 230 at 4%, and then he'll change it to 6%, and then it goes up like $80,000 to $100,000. And then what he says is, so basically you're gambling like $100,000 of your money that the power company isn't going to increase your rate.
Oh, that's cash.
So even if, and I think that avoids people saying, well, my rate hasn't gone up, because now they're not thinking about, well, has my rate gone up? They're thinking about like, well, do I want to place that bet with the power company that they're not going to raise my rate?
Monthly utility bill, $250. Monthly solar panel payment, $300. We got, the rate is only going up by 3% a year. I didn't even do the 6. So right off the bat, Mr. Homeowner, would you rather pay $300 a month or $250 a month right now? Which one would you rather pay?
300.
Well, before I go over this, yeah.
250.
How come?
That's cheap.
Okay. What if I told you, again, then I go through my whole, hey, I'm the power company, I'm coming in, right? You're gonna pay me this one or this one, which one are you taking?
Well, I would pick the 90.
How come?
I'm saving 78,000.
Okay, but Ethan, look, you didn't notice this part, but look, that's you paying the 300 right now. Would you still rather pay this?
Yeah.
So yeah, I have the graph right there. It's all logic. Okay. Now next. So next I say, I'm like, okay, now the design just came back. So what I want to do with you, Ethan, is I want to actually like, again, create this together. You and me, we're gonna sit down, we're gonna kind of create this design, where we want the panels, everything, how it works. Okay. So I pull out the design, get it all done, right? I'm going through adjusting red line, adjusting whatever. Here's what I'm looking for. Throughout this whole time, I know if he needs to save money, right? There are people who are like, look, like I literally cannot afford to pay more. This whole thing of selling them on more, it's not so that you can do that every time. It's so that you can just sell them in general.
And
Okay?
they get stoked when you say
And they get stoked when they save money.
Or if it's the same even.
Or if it's even a bill swap, they're stoked, right? But I gotta find out throughout this whole time, which I have, because they'll let me know, they'll give me key indicators. If they're gonna buy on price, or they're gonna buy on logic, or they're gonna buy on investing, whatever, they're gonna buy on one of those things, okay? But I will know that. And based off our conversation so far, I will adjust my red line according so, because I'll know what they're gonna buy on. Does that make sense? All this is doing is selling them on the logic that it is actually a smarter investment to pay more than to pay less. That's it. Okay, it doesn't mean that you have to sell it on more, right? But you can, you have the option now, okay? So we go, now we're actually building out the design, we build it all out, cool, we got the whole quote going, awesome. Now we're gonna go over the final numbers, okay? So over here, final numbers, and qualify. Okay. So Ethan, I got the design built out right here, so I'll kind of walk you through it, okay? So remember when I was telling you that, obviously, you're gonna save money even if you're paying more per month?
Mm-hmm.
The cool thing about your home, and so I'm gonna have to write anyway, so I'll just stay safe. The cool thing about your home, Ethan, always make it towards their home, okay? The cool thing about your home is because of the way the sunlight hits your home, it is amazing. We don't have to use as many panels as like some of the other people who have like north facing homes, right? All that means for you is you just need less panels because there's more efficiency, more production for those panels, right? And then again, it's just more savings in your pocket, okay? So like we said, you're paying about $250 a month right now. The cool thing about your system is your solar's coming in at $235 a month. So we just talked about it. It's smarter to pay $300 a month because over the long term you're going to save more money. It's an investment, right? You're not donating your money anymore to the power company, right? That sucks. You're getting nothing back for that. Okay, we're locking your price in right here. It's going to be building equity into your system, right? Because this is yours. You can pay it off, it's yours, like you're gonna own it. Once these payments are up, you're never gonna pay your power bill ever again. Okay, that's it, right? So from here, right, so what it comes out to is, and I go over the loan price, I don't have the math on that, so I'll just make up a loan price number. It'll say like 75 grand, okay, your system, it's gonna be 30% of that. Anyone got quick math for me? It's like 23,000. Sure. 20,500. Is there a tax credit? Okay, so then you do the math on that. It's going to be 52.5. Okay. Cool. Their interest rate right now, what's the lowest one? Is it 3.49? Sunlight still has a 2.99 for the next couple days.
Dividend has a 3.49.
No, it's a 3.99.
Is it? I just did one yesterday.
Like the monthly price.
3.49.
Really?
There's a 349.
It doesn't work when you go to do it? Oh.
It's $3.99.
Oh, I clicked it and it worked.
There's a
Right.
349.
All right, listen up.
It was a.
Okay, let's go.
Okay.
All right, so here's the thing, Ethan. I just want to hit it on the head, right? Another thing I get from people is like, I don't want to pay a ton of interest, right? Because Dave Ramsey, everyone's a believer in Dave Ramsey for some reason. Ethan, 3.49, the best rate you can get in solar right now is absolutely insane, right? Compared to like a home mortgage, it's crazy. Car loans. How much of this are you ever going to see back your power bill? If you were to say, hey, you're going to double down and stick with your power company and keep paying them moving forward and keep renting your dirty energy from the grid, how much would you get back from them? Nothing. Right? So in essence, it's 100% interest. Right? Because all interest means is you're paying the fee to borrow money. Right? You're not getting that back. Okay? Over here, 349, absolutely insane how good that is. I don't care what interest you're selling. I've sold 799s, and I'm like, dude, it's absolutely insane, right? Like you gotta hype them up, right? So what does that mean? That means 96.5% of what your payments of this are actually ownership going towards you. It's principal at that point. That means you're paying it off, right? So that's kind of how it breaks down. Now, your total overall system cost is $75,000, right? You'll get a 30% tax credit for that. Have you heard about the tax credit yet?
No, I haven't.
Okay, are you 1099 or W2?
W2.
Cool. So do you know, so you get your taxes taken out every single month, right? Or every paycheck? Cool. Do you know exactly how much you get taken out per paycheck?
No.
Like if you, like when you go and do your actual tax at the end of the year, do you know the amount that you actually pay?
You want me to make up a number?
Yeah.
10,000.
Cool. So $10,000 will be your tax liability, right? Which means you'll actually be able to claim for this tax credit, okay? I'm not a tax professional. I'll walk you through how it works, right? But I'm not a tax professional. Yeah, you have to say that, so you know. So I just want to do, just so people know, we do this a lot, but his tax liability is 10 grand. Can he get this full tax credit?
Yes.
Why not?
just
Well, not
multiple
all at
years.
once.
Yep, he can get it. It'll take 2 years. Technically, because there's that extra 2.5 down. Tax liability is W2. He'll get that money back in the form of a refund, right? Because he's already paid taxes. If he was a 1099 and he owed 10 grand, he ain't seeing that 10 grand. It's going straight to the IRS because it's technically their money if you're 1099 because you have to pay them. So they're just going to pull it, right? Does that make sense? But you're going to have an extra 10 grand in your pocket because you're not paying the IRS that 10 grand. That's how it works, okay? Cool. Now Ethan, so it's essentially bringing your principal down to 52,500. Right, so I want to be super transparent with you because I want to make sure people know exactly how solar works. Because realistically speaking, Ethan, the reason I want to make sure I walk everything through piece by piece is I want you to have a good experience. Because if you had a bad experience with me, you're going to tell everybody. If you had a good experience, you might tell 2 or 3 people. And our job's a lot easier when it's referral based and talking to people that you know. And so I always try to make sure that you understand everything and just completely answer all your questions. So stop me if you can, right? But so 235, you'll have 18 months to apply this back towards the loan, right? Because in 18 months, if you make this voluntary payment, right, your tax credit, if you apply that towards the system cost, okay, this is your principal. The financer is assuming this will be your principal, okay? If you do that, you apply this there, this is your principal, right? If you notice, I'm not shying away from loan, principal, interest, any of that. If you shy away from it, they're going to be uncomfortable with it, right? Hit it right on the freaking head, okay? Obviously, if you're knocking and setting, probably don't do that. But if you're at home, like just hit it on the freaking head, okay? Now let's say 18 months, you decide not to apply it. You decide to take that money. It's going to go up to. This would probably go up to like 310. I'd say probably. Yeah, probably like 315. Yeah. Okay. We're back to square one. Remember when I said, would you rather pay $300 a month or $250 a month? Mm-hmm. We're back to square one. You saved money over 18 months.
I think dividends 15 months. But.
So yeah, 15. You saved money over 15 months. And now we're back to where you said, just about what you said would be a smarter investment because you're going to save money if you paid that. Okay, tap pause. Do you see why you do this now? So now, if they try and pull this, well, like, what if I don't get the tax credit money, right? Or like, what if I don't apply it back? Well, you already agreed this is smarter. Do you see it? We're 8-miling the whole time. And he has no objection at this point. I'm like unloading clips on him right now. Right? Like, you agreed this would be smarter. Look at that. Look how much I'm saving him if he were to pay this. Do you see what I'm doing? Okay. Now it gets even cooler, right? This is where we start getting emotional with them, okay? Because again, you got to have some sort of emotion to have them buy it. So Ethan, right off the bat, I do want to ask you though, right off the bat, when I tell you that if you apply this, you'll keep it locked at that, and if you don't, it'll go up to this. Which would you rather do?
The 235.
How come?
Cheaper.
Okay. So I want to explain something to you. Now you can do what you want. right? Talk to your accountant, they can help you out with this after install, right? I always say that part because then they don't talk to them before install, to be honest, like, because some accountants are freaking idiots. I can't stand accountants out here. Thanks, bro.
No, out here they're extraordinarily
Dumb.
So I was just assuming after install, right? Because we all know how it works, right? Okay.
like everyone talks to their accountant, and no accountant says it's bad.
Thank you. But out here they are the worst.
Work for free.
So this is what I do. I think most people know what I do at this point, right? When I talk about investing, this is where the emotion comes into play, right? Because again, I've already gotten to agree on this. Now I'm going to build why he should do that and and invest this part, because he just got an investment for free, basically because he's okay with this number. Okay. So Ethan, I just want to walk you through something real quick. Again, do what you want, right? If you care about the savings 100%, apply it. But if you can just delay the instant gratification, you can have so much more built in for your value for you. And let me show you what I mean by that. Okay, I'll just do it right here. So if you took this exact same amount and you applied it towards an investment, right? Let's say, pull this up. Okay, anyone know the average 30-year return of the stock market right now? 9.89.
Do Dogecoin.
I think Dogecoin.
Dogecoin's going to the moon. Hey, crypto's at 40% this month. Just throwing that out there.
Okay, here we go.
It's pretty good.
Can you turn this back on? Watch this. Okay, so Ethan, let's say we just applied this to the stock market like Vanguard, whatever, right? Only got 9.89% return. There's other things you can invest that money into that you can get a higher return, but I just want to go worst case scenario if you didn't want to do a ton of work, okay? Length of time, let's go that same 25-year term.
Do you have this pulled up for them too as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do this exact same thing with them.
This is just the interest, compound interest.gov.
9.89% compounded annually, let's calculate that. Ethan, by you paying what you already agreed was a smarter investment in the first place, right? And just applying this towards even just the stock market, you will have in 25 years, one, you'll have saved 100 grand. You'll have saved 100 grand, we already talked about that. Mm-hmm. Two, you have your panels paid off. You're living for free, okay? And three, you have $238,000 sitting in an account for you. It's pretty cool, right? Yeah. All because you made the decision to own your power versus to rent it. And you just did a bill swap. That's it. Pause. See how cash that is? He agreed that this is smarter to pay already. Now he's gonna have it paid off by that point. Now he's gonna have $238,000. Let's go deeper, right? Now for people who are like, well, I'm selling double wides, I don't think I can do this. I do this for people with double wides too. You think they don't want a house? Let me show you. Look. Okay. Hey Ethan, I get 25 years might be too far away. Right?
I'll be dead by then.
Okay. Let's go 8 years. Is 8 years too far away for you too?
Nah, let's go.
Pretty good, right? Okay. Hey, guys, look. In 8 years, that money turned into $48,000. Okay? So Ethan, so in 8 years, let's pull it out.
Okay.
You have $48,000 now. Ethan, that is a down payment to an investment property. Or for your own home. It's not double wide, your own home, right? Look. So, and you can take this now. Let's say that it's an investment. I always go off the investment, right? So Ethan, so you got $48,000. You're gonna put that as a down payment for an investment property. You're now getting paid $500 a month profit from your renter and your investment property. That's building you an asset of 250 grand. Okay, so all for going solar. Like I know people. You probably talk to people all the time. And it's like, oh, you save your money, save your money. That doesn't matter. You can do so many other things. You can stop using so much power. You can save money. That doesn't mean anything to me. What matters to me is this: for you deciding, hey, I want to own my power now. Okay, I'm gonna save $100,000 over 25 years. I'm not gonna pay a power bill once it's paid off, or a solar panel payment, because it's mine, it is mine, right? I'm gonna now have a property that's paying me $500 a month on top of someone else paying off my mortgage, principal pay down, all because I decided, hey, for $0 down, no money out of pocket, I'm gonna now go solar versus pay a power bill. And that's it, you're just paying one over the other, that's it. Pretty crazy, huh? Okay. Let's say this is 2 out of reach, cool? You have kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
Grandkids maybe?
No.
Young? Okay. You have kids? Take this money and apply it toward for an investment or into a college fund for your kids. Do you think, like, in today's world, do you know how many people like don't have college funds right now for their kids? Most people, it's because we can't afford it. Life is too expensive. So for you, again, making the smart decision to, instead of renting your power, you're now gonna own it, your kids are gonna go to school for free. Because you can pay for them. They don't have to take out student loans. They don't have to worry about paying those off over 30 years because you did it for them.
Question, do you think it's more valuable to show the higher number first, and then be like, oh, that's the investment, and then, like, oh, if you wanted to apply towards the loan, it could be cheaper, or do you think it's more valuable to be like, cheaper first, then like, all the extra you could do if you didn't go cheaper?
I've always just done it this way where I want to make sure I go over this because I'll be frank, if I go over this first, I'm going to forget to tell them that and then when they go look at docs, it's going to say that and they're going to freak out. So I see value in both. Whatever fits your flow.
Yeah.
But so here's the emotion, right? Now if they're older, your grandkids are going to have college paid for. College is freaking expensive. Most people are taking loans out to pay for college, okay? Not with us, right? Eve, does that make sense? Like, do you have any questions about all this? Do you see why I get so stoked to work my job? So I can help people literally make a smart decision. Because I mean, we're talking about, it's just smart because you're going to save your own money. But now either you can have an investment property, or you can have 240 grand that you can go apply wherever you want, or your kids are going to have a college paid for. Like, do you see how cool that is? I don't want to get you too carried away, okay? Because there are a couple qualifications, right? Hold back.
Feels credit.
Right?
Yeah, feels credit.
You should ask credit before you go through any of this. You should get credit on the doorstep or in the first 5 minutes in the home. Okay? Okay. Ethan, there's 3 qualifications for us to be able to get you to go solar, especially for no money down, because that's a stellar deal. Number 1 is we have to do a site survey. We got to make sure the roof is in good standing. Again, we got to warranty it. It's part of our whole process. We can't just be like, oh, his roof's not okay. We're just not going to warranty this one. We have to warranty all of them because we have to do good work. So we'll get a team out here within 48 hours and take some pictures, and we'll know from there. We'll kind of go from there. Okay. Number 2 is the power company can deny your application to go solar. They don't tell us why. I have no idea why. So please don't ask, right? But at the end of the day, if they deny you, there's nothing we can do. You're stuck. Okay. And number 3 is you do have to have decent credit to be able to go solar, because obviously everyone and their mom would want to do this, but it just doesn't make sense for everybody. So we do have a credit requirement there. Do you know what your score sits about?
Yeah, around like 4 or 5.
Nice. I would have asked beforehand, right? Like, I'm not walking into a home that's gonna fail today. Okay.
Yeah, like 700.
Cool. You should be fine then. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna do a soft check on the home real quick, just to make sure we can move forward. Because again, the worst case scenario is we get super excited and we try and get everything started, and you can't pass one of our requirements, and we have to tell you no. That'd be the worst thing in the world. It's a super awkward conversations I have to have with homeowners. So I like to go step by step. Okay, so who's the primary on the home? Boom. That's it. You just go straight into docs. That's it. Any questions on that? Cool.
Oh.
I know it's a lot.
There are a lot of questions. I gotta let it marinate.
Derek McKenzie's my dad.
I know it's a lot, right? And I know we went mad over.